So what we're doing is you're taking the shaft, you're just going. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to, in transition, this club starts falling behind us a little bit more. So it wants to fall behind us. Then when this club starts swinging around from there, now it's moving more to the right rather than down and to the left. We can make things easier to draw the ball just by building draw elements into the setup. Draw elements would be things like closing off the body lines, for example. You know, instead of pointing our shoulders and our feet left to the target, go the complete opposite way. Another thing would be like people who fade the ball a lot or get out to in, they tend to set up with the hips back and the upper body forward like this to some degree. Or they'll do it on the downswing where they kind of look like this. And so that's another thing that makes it easy to cut the ball. So having closed body lines is one, but also having like a more hips forward, head and upper body back like this to start. And then being able to like kind of swing that way. More side bend to the right, that's another thing that helps you draw the ball.
Okay.
Someone who opens the face a lot, that is one of the things that encourages you to get over the top, because when the face gets too open, you usually have to do extra things to get the club face to try to kind of come around, and you usually do that by getting steep and getting the body to rotate really hard like this. We want to have the left hand a little more on top of the club. So that'd be called a stronger grip. We just turn this counterclockwise.
Oh, you want it more this way?
Right. It's easier to get the face to turn over and orient closed when the grip is stronger.
Okay.
So the feeling is the left hand's over, right hand's more under. So in the backswing, this thing points down. So that's the very start of the swing there. So from there, just keep that intact and rotate, and go ahead and lift the arms and see if we can get their body to rotate a little bit more. There we go, yeah. So that what we did with the wrist didn't change from the very beginning. So there's no sudden opening in the face.
Yeah.
Once we have a good backswing, once we have good wrists and arms, then we can think about doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be kind of the first thing to think about. And that's going to really translate to the driver as well, because if that face is more shut in the backswing with the driver, and that's a big key that helps resolve the right shot too.
Okay.
Yeah. So as far as the body and the setup, I encourage you to point your toe line to the right, which also means the hips and the knees are going to point right.
More this way?
Right.
Okay.
And then the shoulders are going to feel more closed. So we're going to take the shoulders, drop the right shoulder back. There we go, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, flare the toes out. Way more. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That feels weird.
If my toes are straight, I can't rotate my hips very much.
Okay.
If my toes are out, I have a lot more freedom. And we need that freedom to rotate because rotation creates depth. Depth is movement this way.
Okay.
If I don't have depth, I get over the top.
Okay.
So the more I can open the hips back this way, the more I can keep my hands back behind me here. If I change direction, boom, there we go, there's my shallow.
Okay.
If I have no depth,
Okay.
so everybody is either fade biased or draw biased in their swing. So right now you're fade biased. So we're gonna turn you over to the other way. So close shoulders, close knees, close toes. Stronger grip, and also handle forward. So hands are forward, grip is stronger, stance is closed. So everything feels like it's pointing that way. And then from there, you have to keep the club face down and just rotate a lot. So your hands can actually feel more lower and behind you here. When you think about the rotation and like creating depth in the backswing, it's literally the same thing as doing this. I stood up, I stand like this, I turn one to the right 90 degrees that way. Boom. That's depth. Because if I had a line on my hips and I stood here and I turned this way, look how much the hips are moving.
Yeah.
So I have to do that, but also bent over.
Yeah.
So if your toes are straight and you're restricted naturally, instead of having the hips rotate, let's say 45, they rotate like 10, 15. You know, that can be an issue for a lot of people. So we got to take this and we just got to all the way back. Okay, there's the draw. So I'll say a little bit about the takeaway too. If we have the face more square to our path, so it feels shut for you, and we're more on plane, it means this club head's gonna feel like it's more out and away from us to start. So it feels like we're picking the club up like 45 degrees away from the body.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.